Hello, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened World Français, which is a spiritual and transformative programming that is actually in French and in English. It is designed to enhance your well-being, your mind, your body, and your soul. So I am very honored to introduce our guest for today. His name is Steve Fogelman. And welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you. We're going to have fun today, and I can't wait for people to get to know you better, our viewers. So, hi, everybody. I'm going to check if we have some people online already checking us out. Just making sure.
Just say yes.
Just say yes. We're there. Yes, we are. Perfect. All right. So, I'm just going to read a little bit of a portion of Steve's bio and also the title for today. What's the topic we're going to be talking about? So here we go. So this Steve Fogelman is a multidiscipline artist for over 30 years. He holds a leadership practice inventory, both life certificates in both life and spiritual coaching. And he joined the International Coach Federation to mirror their high ethical standards. Steve's call to coaching struck at the start of the pandemic to help his fellow theater artists survive the shutdown. But focus soon shifted to deepening self-love after realizing how one feels about oneself is at the core of how successfully one interacts with the world, where unconscious effects of childhood, religion, and societal traumas detach us from the power of self-love, and a conscious effort is the only way to restore it. Although his niche is LGBT and artists in New York, thanks to the internet, Steve has helped all types of artists and non-artists in all corners of the USA, Eastern Canada, the UK, and Europe. These coachable topics collect in his first book, The Self-Love Journey, a spiritual guide to a happier human experience, to be published in the winter of 2022. Wow. Thank you. Welcome, Steve. So,
that's really good.
This is very interesting. I have to start with one question that's just like, why is self-love the most important love of your life? Can you share with us what that means for you?
Yeah. Well, you know what, you kind of answered it in my biography, in that how you feel about yourself dictates how successfully you interact with the world. Everything you do has to do with how you feel about yourself, and the things that change. Childhood traumas. They say usually the traumas within the first 6 years are what dictate your personality and behavior, your likes and your dislikes, and those traumas aren't necessarily things that seem traumatic. As we say, you don't have to be abused or tortured as a child in order to have trauma. Certain things that seem kind of common register in your body and your soul as trauma, and that will change your behavior and your understanding and the lengths that you will go to try to avoid that feeling again. And so it becomes avoidance, and so obviously if you're avoiding things in life, then you're not fully engaging from your traumas, and it just spirals as you get older. The traumas create bigger traumas. And so that's why, but also the self-love, you are familiar how we're shifting from a 3D universe into this 5D consciousness, and things are getting lighter and brighter. And the only way you can actually fully enter 5D is through self-love. So all those people who are interested to be on that 5D journey, it's not just something that's going to change around you, it also changes within. So and it only changes from within if you make that effort to do that.
Yes, so true. Thank you for reminding us about that. Thank you very much. I have another question for you, Steve. I wrote it down here. When I discovered who you were, I actually watched a YouTube that really inspired me, and I just connected with you right away. And that one was Self-Love Journey, Healing, Forgiveness, Giving Up Control. And it was about you sharing your story, right? About the control, but also how extreme loss just, brought you to this opportunity to transform your life.
Yeah. Um, I actually have a chapter in my book called The Power of Loss, because this is the things, because we have this view we have of self-love now is really just going, having massages and walking in the woods and yoga and taking a little extra time for ourselves. But it's so far more complicated than that. It's really about how you live your life, not just, and your thoughts and the things and how you change all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the book is about, in helpful ways of realigning your life,
Yeah.
your mind, body, and spirit to that self-love. And so here's where I got off topic, and I
No,
forgot
no, you didn't. You're right on topic.
what the question was. The original question.
Yeah. So can you explain to me?
Oh, the power of loss. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
well, because what people don't understand when they're on some kind of spiritual raising journey is they think they're just going from where they are to some state of joy. and and it doesn't really work like that at all. And anyone will tell you that it is a self-love journey or an ascension or kind of spiritual awakening. It's actually a pretty painful, gut-wrenching um, experience that you have to go through, because you're just purging the old. You cannot. And so this is so when you're already experiencing loss, you're already feeling crappy, you're already sad. So this is the opportunity to, you're already outside your comfort zone. Things are not where they are. So this is another time to focus on who you are. And so I had the loss. I had my dog of 13 years had to be put down in 2019, and I was just devastated. It was like for 6 months, I really was like I couldn't do stuff. I was, um, but I was just sitting every morning. I would listen to guided meditations on self-love. I sort of had like a calling and intuition to focus on self-love. And that was sort of what began my journey. But I think a lot of people will tell you how loss is opportunity. Loss is what we're actually, as humans, we are here on earth to experience loss. That is one of our purposes. Yet we tend to go around avoiding it. And so this is what I'm saying, to take a whole new understanding of loss, that it's a positive thing. There's certainly, it's not just, oh, your father died, let's make a new you. No, you have to have you have to have a mourning process. And there's, it's not, we're not eliminating any of that, but after that process, it's like, okay, this is how can we grow. And so one of the things, like, so when someone does pass away, I wish them, when you don't, like, what do you say to someone, my condolences or this or that. And I always say, oh, I wish you all the strength on your grief journey, because it is a journey of
Yes.
this grief, and where you want to end up on the journey is up to you.
Mm. Yeah.
So it is. So one of the things, when my dog had died, I had seen something online about post-traumatic growth. And I was like, oh, I never heard that before. Well, let's do that. So I was, working with a therapist, and we sort of had a focus of creating Steve 2.0.
Mm.
So basically, loss is an opportunity to make you 2.0. Improve some of the things, know some of the things that you don't like about yourself, and you can work on those and improve the things you do find enjoyable about yourself.
Yes, and that's where you took that opportunity, right? During all of that grieving process, going through the coaching, you actually decided, this is my opportunity to actually change my life too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was fortunate that the pandemic happened. So, um, so everything stopped. And that is what the pandemic was for those of us who are a little more spiritually conscious, that the pandemic has been a reset for Earth. And many of us have taken that opportunity. That's what I sort of finally had, that calling to help the world, in a sense, is what it felt like, and became a coach. Started, changed careers like that.
Yeah, but not just any type of coach. You actually, you are a life and a spiritual coach, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I started on the spiritual coaching, and I'm sorry, I started as a life coach, and then I remember I had a Sabian astrology reading back in January of 2020. I don't even really know what Sabian is, but a friend of mine said she had, and I just felt like, oh, something inside me just said I needed to do this. And I've had, like, astrology readings throughout the years several times, every couple decades or something, and so this fellow, though, he told me something that no one has ever told me before, and that I needed to come out of the spiritual closet, and that anything that I do that has a spiritual connotation will be successful.
Mm.
No one has ever told me that before, and so then it was just, oh, well, also, um, as the life coach, then I knew I started writing the book on self-love, and I felt self-love, it really is kind of more of a spiritual aspect of something, and that as a spiritual coach, I can help people and coach them. Everything in the book is coachable, all the different topics, you know what I mean? So that would, it's a spiritual process. And so that just seemed more appropriate as the spiritual coaching.
Yeah.
And in spiritual coaching, you can actually heal people. Well, I mean, you could in life coaching, you just don't learn as many techniques.
Mm.
We do, there's different things that you can do. But in spiritual coaching, you can take a client into a meditative state and clear energies and things like that. And it's really rewarding. It's just great when you make
Yeah.
a positive effect in someone's life. It's just tremendous.
Yes, it is. And I just want to take a few seconds to say hi because we've got some live viewers. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. And for hi to those that are going to be watching after. Very happy to have you with us. So, Steve, I have another question. In your bio, we talk about your niche. Your niche, you decided to go with LGBT and autistic artists. Why did you pick that niche? I'm
Well,
just curious.
because that's what I am.
Okay.
So, in coaching, yes, I met with a branding guy, and he said, who you are is who you coach and who you will attract. And so I am an artist. I mean, I've done so many different things. I'm currently I'm a professional actor and a playwright, and I've been a filmmaker and a stand-up comedian, a chef. Um, what else have I done? Well, I started as an architect. That's my degree, is in architecture, photography, and painting. So just like anything creative I'm involved in, and I've reached some sort of, like, I've sold a painting or two. I've been paid to do stand-up comedy. I am a professional actor. So I've been able to achieve some type of professional level of these different arts. And it's so interesting because when I was I was a clothing designer. I had a clothing line to the things just keep coming up. And it was just interesting to me. I was trying to figure out, well, how is it that I can do all these things? Um, and and so that's one of the things in coaching that you can learn, teaching how to make creative decisions and where to make them. Most people make decisions in their head, but that's not really, you can only make intellectual decisions in your head. Creative decisions are made in your abdominal area. And that's just something that I might have just had an instinctive understanding to do.
Yeah.
And that was, although not for acting, because when I, as an actor, I'd always get, oh, you're thinking too much. So people, so when you're, so it's helpful for actors too, the coaching and getting you to get out of your head. Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so this is why I became, so that's why I work with artists, or predominantly that is my niche as I am putting that out there, because I do enjoy working with artists and understand the temperament or the traumas that they go through, or what's happening and what, and then the autism is, I am on the spectrum. I just found that out like 6 years ago. So I was well into my 50s. I lived my whole life undiagnosed on the spectrum. And so there's a lot of traumas from that that caused a lot of lack of self-love. And so I've been able to, so I just feel I can help other people who are, functioning on the spectrum. I don't have any training to deal with people who may not be functioning on the spectrum, but that's how I got into that. Yeah, your
Yeah.
coaching business is about you,
Yeah.
who you
And
are.
like I mentioned before, when we got started, when I watched your YouTube video, you just being you and explaining a little bit of, all of this, a little bit of who you are and how you got into the coaching and your story, right? In about 10 minutes, I was just like, wow, there's so much that we can offer the world. Your gift is all of that. You don't have one, you have plenty, and that's the beauty of it. And some people think sometimes that we're just meant to do one thing, right? So to hear you say that, I was this, I do this, I do that, I'm also a coach, and then I do this too, and I'm writing a book, and it's like, yeah, thank you for sharing all of that and telling people it's doable.
Yeah, I guess I just was able to pursue these different things, and I think so that is another topic in my book is curiosity,
Oh,
because that is a natural human nature, and if you don't have that natural curiosity, um, that may be a sign of some type of trauma somewhere along the line that cut off that human drive for continual knowledge. So that's what one of the ways that you can love yourself is to take a class, to get educated. Continuing education and following your curiosity, that's another way of expressing self-love.
so that's going to be one topic in your book too, right? That you're going to be
Yeah,
talking about
education and curiosity. Yeah.
that. Okay. Anything else you can share a little bit about your book?
um, well, I will share with you the number one area to, if you're starting a self-love journey, is self-awareness.
Okay.
And that's because that's a pretty broad um, way. There's many ways to do that, and maybe all of them can be effective, because until you know who you are, you know what I mean, you can't really know what you don't know what to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Or not necessarily what to fix, what to heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's a better word. And so that's what, talk about therapy is a good one. Or especially, I always try to encourage a journaling,
Mm-hmm.
because that really gets to the, if you're writing about what no one else is ever going to read, you're writing just for yourself, you can really get to the depths of what you're feeling and write them down. And that's also an extremely healing process. More so, I think there's definitely healing in talking about stuff in therapy,
Mm-hmm.
but writing things down, you can just go somewhere where you don't even have to think about that other person that you're talking to. You know what I mean? As far as you're not sharing it, you're just expressing it. You're releasing it.
Yeah.
Without someone who, because people go to therapy. I think there's definitely feelings of possible judgment
Mm-hmm.
by the other person of what they've done, and so journaling removes any judgment to just fully express. And I did that when my dog died, and I was just like, I can't even look at that stuff. It's just like the saddest stuff, but you just you gotta just purge
Yeah.
all that stuff out.
Yeah, and for you to go through it and having somebody to guide you, to coach you, that's what you, that's what allowed you to, you know, and then tapping into your
Yeah,
spiritual,
right.
you know, your spiritual side too. That's what helped you say, you know, I want to do this too. I want to help people in another way, right?
And I can help. And this is, I just want to explain quickly the difference between like psychology and a coach, what would happen in the sessions. So like as a coach, I'm not really allowed to deal with your past directly. We, but I can offer you a suggestion. If you want to journal about your past on your time, that is something that is acceptable in coaching. Do you know what I'm saying? But we can't in the
Mhm.
session.
Yeah.
Otherwise it becomes a therapy session.
Yeah.
And that's what, so we don't do that in coaching. There really are finding ways of moving forward
Yeah.
is what we do. We're not,
Yeah.
we're not we're not stuck in the past. We're moving forward. So that's what sometimes coaching, one of the greatest things in my life really was going through coach training. And I actually suggest anyone, if you want to be an excellent parent, to take a coaching class because coaching is all about empowering the
Mhm.
other person. And I don't think parents realize the things that they say and do are not empowering their child at
Mhm.
all, if they do want to raise an empowered child.
Mhm.
Not everybody wants that. So that's, I just have to, nothing is for everybody.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. That's true.
but that would be, but that changed my life in just in my understanding in how to just be present and hold space and listen without agenda. That's why you're not allowed to coach family and friends or relatives, because you may have a hidden agenda that would affect your process.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for explaining that, because some people, I know that before I even went into coaching myself, um, I thought I knew the difference.
Mhm.
I used to do counseling, and then I went more into the coaching area, which is more of who I am as a person, right? So, like you were saying at the beginning, it's you're going to attract people that are really in tune with you, your values, what you do, what you put yourself out there, and that's totally normal, right?
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I really want to ask you. Um, so you were talking about the book. There's going to be something about awareness. So you mentioned that 6 years ago you were diagnosed, but I mean with autism, a spectrum, right? So when you heard that all through your life, and then 6 years ago, bang, you got this, this label. This is what it is now. How do you deal with that? Like you
Well,
mentioned a little bit about saying, "Oh my, okay, now I understood." But can you explain a little bit more so we can understand?
yeah. Well, there was sort of like a hallelujah moment because I had been searching all my life to understand why I felt different. I just always could tell somehow I felt different inside. I was aware that I wouldn't always have the same reactions to things that other people had or whatever. And I was just tremendously anxious
Okay.
throughout my whole life and childhood. But back then, you weren't treated for anxiety. You were just considered weird.
Mm, yeah.
And so, um, so when I found out, you do go back. It is a process of sort of like re-examining every moment in your life, or seeing, oh, that's what, oh,
Yeah.
that, and oh, that's the other thing is self-forgiveness. Forgiveness is another topic in the book, because a lot of people have a really hard time forgiving themselves. And I think I'm successful, or I'm lucky that for some reason I didn't have a difficulty. It's not an ego situation. I don't feel like I'm betraying somebody, or or myself or whatever, to be able to forgive myself for just being part of that or whatever. It's really just a transmutation of energy is really what forgiveness is. You know what I'm saying? It's not like an ego thing, and it's just letting that energy go. And so yeah, and it was interesting because I was trying to see where do I fit in anywhere in the autism community. Um, I'd gone to some support groups, and that I didn't seem. You have no idea the depths of mistreatment that some people on the spectrum have endured as children.
Mhm.
In the past. It's heartbreaking. I don't even want to mention it now. It's just so awful.
Yeah.
I'm not, I didn't have that sort of situation, at all. And I didn't really feel like I was in that community or those social groups here in New York. I don't know, they could be other, but I do my agent, I'm with KMR Diversity, run by Gail Williamson. So that is an agency that has all kinds of people, all kinds of diverse neurodiversities, physical diversities. Um, they're out of Los Angeles.
Oh, so I'm happy that you found a place that really you felt like you fit in. And now with your spiritual awakening and what you're bringing to the world with the coaching, you've got this, you could just feel it when we're talking with you, when we're listening. You've got this amazing ability to make us feel everything's going to be okay.
Ah, well,
Everything's fine.
you know what? Well, this is what when you have self-love, you, it does feel that way. I don't have anxiety over the future. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that most people have anxiety of, what's going to happen in the future or what's happening now, or they're still killing themselves over something that happened yesterday or a month ago. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I'm just been able to let go of that stuff. I think that's, I mean, I certainly am slightly living in the present. I mean, in the future, but I am mostly living in the present.
Yeah. So we're here together having a chat with our viewers and our listeners right
Yeah,
now.
but when you're in the present, there's nothing. There's no anxiety of what might be or what's happening in some other country or whatever. There's horrible things happening in the world all the time, and those people are learning other lessons and traumas and
Mhm.
experiencing things for them to overcome. That's part of their journey.
Yeah.
Uh, I can appreciate other people's journeys, as because I can get a little too empathic of stuff. I don't really connect to all the suffering throughout the world. Um, but I'm aware, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and hoping and praying that things change,
Mhm.
and they are changing actually.
Yes.
Just it just doesn't necessarily happen overnight.
Hmm. And you're part of the transitioning team, like I like to call.
I am. I'm a lone starseed, as they say
Oh,
here in New York, but I have a team of people on the other side who are really helping shift things for us.
okay. So can you I just want to take a few minutes. Can you elaborate? What do you mean? I know that you also do channeling, right?
Well, I don't know that I necessarily channel. I think what it is, I have a connection to my higher self,
Hey.
and so your higher, everybody has a higher self, and everybody has that ability to connect to their higher self. And I think it might just be something that needs to be practiced, for that. Sometimes it requires some really deep relaxation in order, but sometimes it doesn't, you know. Um, and I find too, it's really interesting. So, because I had studied some psychic ability things before, I took a class, and that was one of my things earlier that I was going to help people because I can read people and tell them what the major traumas are that are blocking them in this lifetime. The major childhood trauma. I would be able to read that in people, which was really interesting. And Oh, see, I lost the topic again.
No, you didn't. You're right
But,
on path.
no, I know, but I mean, I lost the train of thought.
Okay, and that's perfect, and that's what makes it special because this is us having a discussion, right?
Yeah.
And we're a team here. So I was asking, so how did the channeling? You mentioned that
Oh,
you
the channeling part. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen other people channel things and videos, whatever, and I don't think that that's what I do. And I don't know how I get information. There are things that I knew, like I've things that were happening that I listened to some people on YouTube, and it was just like that they were presenting as news of something that they just channeled, and it's just like, well, I knew that. I knew that like years ago. Where have you been? So I don't know. I don't know specific how I get information or know things. I mean, I in the spiritual realm, I am one of those people who just know. I'm a knower. You know how there's like the knowers or the hearers or the seers or the feelers. I'm a knower.
I'm so happy that you're embracing all of this. That I am because you've got lots to offer. Again, I'm going to say it, and that you're okay sharing this to the world now and saying, "This is who I am." If you had a message to tell people that are listening right now, what would you like them to hear? What would you want to tell them?
Wow. Um, Everything is healable.
Mm, okay, thank you. Everything is healable. It's short to the point, but it's very powerful. Yeah. And reach out, right? Reach out, find the coach that you need, find the worker, the health, the energy worker, the light worker that attracts you, that, you know, sometimes it might be one word, something that that person says. Like I was looking, like I said, like I was looking to your video and I was like, oh my God, I could feel the essence. I could feel the real authentic you. And that's what drawn me to you, have a chat, start having a chat with you, and then saying, hey, let's meet and share your gifts to the world here.
Yeah, but it's always nice to talk with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a video on my YouTube, the Fogelman Artist Coaching YouTube channel, um, and on my website.
Mm-hmm.
That's fac.coach. It's really great they have this coach thing now. Like you can fac.coach. You can't really forget that. That's why I picked a really simple one. Um, but yeah, I always say, because I'm an actor and I'm a playwright, and I'm currently working on a solo performance play, a one-man show, and I always say that my life is my art. So, so, and it really is. It's one of those things that you realize, those things that most of us think, oh, that needs to be secret, or that people can't know about that. It's actually what makes you really interesting, and it's not really anything that be embarrassed about or things like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm aware of those sort of things. And, as an actor too, you don't realize like when an actor is performing a scene or emotional thing, you just assume that they are part of that scene. I'm thinking, going through, having the thoughts that are pertinent or relevant to that scene, but they may be going through some kind of other personal, extremely personal, vulnerable experience that they're reliving that you have no idea. And they know you have no idea. So there's a freedom to relive that experience. And so it's that sort of thing. And it just becomes that sort of, it's a freedom, just being who you are.
Yeah, and I could just imagine you could release that energy there also right there on stage, right?
Yeah.
Leave it there.
Yeah. And that's when you cry in the theater, you are having some type of healing,
Yeah.
the healing sensation. When you cry at a wedding, it's a healing that's happening. let's see, that, you know, those kind of, when you cry at a movie or whatever, those are, and that's, you know, people will always say, you often hear, and okay, I'll take a healing breath, or that's a cleansing or healing. Like, and then I always said to myself, what the hell am I healing? Like, don't I need to know, what am I healing? Well, this is okay, healing what, you know? And it's basically healing your traumas.
Yeah.
That's what it's healing. So that's the trauma is the new buzzword for me for the next 10 years, I think, in dealing with that. Oh, because I also say this self-love as a movement sort of thing, you know, I did mention how it helps people elevate to the fifth dimension. But it's also, you know, if you're talking about global world peace and that sort of thing, because what you understand is, or the importance of self-love, again, on the topic of today, is because how you feel about yourself is how you treat other people.
Yes. Thank you for the great reminder.
You know, and so, yeah, so we see, yeah, there's a lot of people out there with traumas. We see them all the time, you know, and that's what I think, you know, if we can start examining behavior as traumas, understanding that people are acting out traumas, a lot of things are uncontrollable. They've been traumatized.
Yeah.
There's not really a choice in how they behave.
Yeah.
And so that's another little bit of, you know, compassion when you're seeing someone acting out, or even if, you know, your boss is talking to you angry, obviously they don't like themselves, or they're having some problems at home or something, you know, there's issues of, but we can bring awareness to this issue that we need to, trauma does not belong in the workplace. You know, trauma does not belong in our, you know, people need to be healed a certain level of trauma, I think, before they can be effective.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Steve. Just love the, you know, having the compassion for one another, for ourselves, self-love for ourselves, but also for others. And that's the way we can help each other, right?
Absolutely.
Grow and also expand. So if people want to really reach out to you and either learn more of what you do, or, you know, hire you as a coach, their coach, what's the best way they can contact you?
Yeah, well, you know, my website I mentioned is www.fac.coach. And
I think I put a couple of links. Did Facebook page? Is there a Facebook page, or your YouTube channel? There's
Fogelman Artist Coaching is the name everywhere. There's a Facebook page. The YouTube channel is that. Or you can send me an email. Steve@stevefogelman.com will get me, you know, because my webpage links to my email, so you can. That's on, you know, my webpage. There's little big circles of break. You know, email me you get a free 30-minute.
Okay.
That's, you know, when you start. So that's.
I just want to say, there's Audrey that says, so interesting. Thank you for sharing. And we've got other viewers that are just there also saying hi, and hi, everybody. And I'd like to say thank you, Steve. I had fun. It was great to have this chat. Great to learn about what you do. And please continue sharing your gifts to this world and make it a better place.
Thank you so much.
And so, bye everyone. Thank you for our viewers and your listeners.
Oui, je parle français un petit peu.
Oui, c'est ça, Steve, il est bilingue.
Pour tous les hommes francophones.
Merci, Steve. J'ai complètement oublié.
À la prochaine fois.
À la prochaine.